Alright, this Odin 2 PlayStation 2 gameplay showcase is finally ready. First up is Ace Combat Zero, a game which was requested in the official Discord. In third-person mode, it runs just fine in 4x. However, I did need to shift it down to 3x to play in third-person mode. Now, of course, many of you out there would argue that it's senseless to run at this high resolution. It's much higher than the native resolution of the screen, and to that I say you're right. 3x, as you're seeing here, is much closer to the native resolution of the Odin 2 screen. However, for testing purposes, I like to see if I can push it higher than that, because it basically means that there's plenty of overhead available. If you can run it at a higher resolution than necessary, it's just a good thing for all of you out there to know, to give a better impression of just how powerful this handheld really is. Of course, if you just want to play the game, there's no need to run it higher than, say, 3x on this device. Next up is Amplitude, which someone requested just to see the delay. You can see there I'm having no trouble with timing whatsoever, and forgive me for not doing an actual song, but I don't want this video to get demonetized just so that you can listen to me play a garbage song on Amplitude. However, I did play several songs and had no trouble at all with timing.
Now move over to the other track.
Next up is Burnout 3 running at 4x resolution, and I should also mention here that for all of these games, I'm running them in widescreen mode or with widescreen hacks if available, and I've also got progressive scan turned on if that's an available hack for the game. However, I am running Aether SX2 in safe or standard mode. I'm not underclocking any of the processors or doing any sort of non-standard speed hacks. I've not tweaked these games to try to maximize performance. The only thing I adjust really to try to gain back performance if they're not performing well is to lower the resolution. However, almost all of these games ran just fine at either 4x or 3x resolution. Now, this is a bit of a boring test of Devil May Cry 3, just standing here in this room, hacking away at things, but I fired it up, and I was already recording, and I know these games are popular, so here it is. Clearly, at least in this tiny little room, no trouble at 4x resolution. If you run into trouble outside of this room when you play the game, well, you can always pare back that resolution a bit. One final note is all of these games are the US or NTSC versions of the games, so they're designed to run at 30 or 60 frames per second. I'm not using any European or PAL releases because, well, you just don't really need to anymore. The original God of War seems to run just fine at 4x. I didn't notice any slowdowns at all during the time I was testing it out. Again, admittedly, I'm not playing very far into these games, but that's a big reason why I'm trying to test them at such a high resolution, with the knowledge that if later parts of the game slow down a bit, hopefully you can just drop the resolution to 3.5, 2.5 times native, and you'll be just fine. moving on to God of War 2, which is clearly a bit more demanding. I did start to notice in the first part of this clip, which is running at 4x, that eventually I got some moments of slowdown like what you saw just there. So after a bit, I will fade to black and shift to 3x resolution, and that seems to take care of any of that slowdown that you see. Now we've shifted down to 3x resolution, and as far as I can tell, that took care of all of the slowdowns. And my button configuration is a bit wonky. I just left it set at whatever it defaulted to, and obviously if I'm going to play any of these games, I will need to change that because none of my PlayStation buttons are in the right place. Moving on, here's some Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, special request by Wampano in the comments. I did not notice any slowdowns whatsoever playing it at 3x resolution, and with third-person camera, I know that's going to be more demanding. I also tried to keep as many of the cars on camera with me as possible just to see if that would slow the game down, and it didn't. And we'll follow that right up with Gran Turismo 4, also running at 3x resolution, and I'm playing it again with the third-person camera, and this is on the New York track because that was a special request from someone on Discord. Now we've got Jack and Daxter, The Lost Frontier, which was requested by absolutely no one, but here it is anyway, and it does seem to run just fine, all the way up at 4x resolution.
That's a high ledge. Try double jumping by pressing the button while jumping. More monsters! Press the button and give them the old spin kick. possible, but if you do a double jump and then press the button in the air, you'll get some extra hang time.
And here you've got some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I really just wanted to test out the D-pad, throwing some fireballs and things like that. And now, I didn't have any trouble, in my opinion, pulling off special moves. The main issue, of course, that I had was trying to keep the system steady while doing my quarter circle turns. If I weren't trying to keep the device centered in the camera, it would have been a lot easier to get those fireballs. Need for Speed Underground 2 seems to run just fine all the way up at 4x resolution, and I'm sure Original Shuriken will be happy to hear that. Shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for this suggestion. I did want to test out Ridge Racer 5 again for myself and all the other Ridge Racer fans out there. And the reason for that being, in the previous video, I was using the PAL version of the game because that's the one I had handy. However, this is the US version, and as you can see, it's still running just fine at 4x resolution. I also included that car selection screen because even on devices where the game itself ran okay, that definitely tended to chug, and on the Odin 2 it ran just fine. I did test it in third-person mode, but I just can't play Ridge Racer games in third-person mode anyway, so I quickly switched it back to this front of the bumper camera because that's just what I'm used to for these games. And still, playing racing games on camera just doesn't lead to the best results. The remaining part of this video has been silenced because otherwise YouTube will demonetize the entire thing. So enjoy. Shadow of the Colossus was requested by AJP7505 in the comments, and I did notice very quickly some slowdowns when I tested it at 4x, so here it is at 3x resolution. I did not get any slowdowns after lowering that resolution, as you will see from this footage. The cuts in the footage here are not to avoid showing poor performance, rather just to show more sections of the game and for brevity of this video. And now, finally, you'll see as we approach the Colossus at 3x resolution, there's absolutely no slowdown, so I don't think you'll have any trouble getting great performance out of this game on the Odin 2. Next, I hope you enjoy a little bit of Simpsons Hit and Run at 4x, requested by no one, but frequently requested on my channel by many people, so don't be surprised if it shows up in the GameCube video also.
What's this do? Hey, Apu, give me a cola and I need another bucket of ice cream with mini pies.
Here's a bit of Sly Cooper and the Thievious Raccoonus. Even at 3x, I did notice occasional slowdowns at moments where there were a lot of particles on the screen. However, those moments were brief, like right there, not too severe, and you could probably take care of that by lowering the resolution just a bit more.
All requesting door via Agent Monarch. Over.
Launching. Stand clear.
I've got visual confirmation on the door. Nice shooting. Be advised, ball is nearing the lab. Agent Deep 6, you ready?
Spear gun loaded.
Agent Deep 6, deploy!
First is down.
I'm reading both force fields down. Strong work, Deep 6.
Every time.
True Crime Streets of New York. Here is playing at 3x resolution, but even in the prologue, and I'm sorry I did not play beyond the prologue, I know that was requested by someone. I just did not have time, and honestly, since I later had to lower it to 2x, I'm just not sure how well this game will play. Hopefully later, myself or others will have time to test that, but at the moment I just don't have a lot of time to play deep into these games and still get the footage out at any reasonable time. Sorry about that, VanRaz86. I hope you understand.
Follow me, Johnny. This way.
That was some of the slowdown I was talking about, and as I entered this underground section, you notice all that red up top. So I shifted down to 2x, and that did take care of it, so hopefully the game will run well, but it'll take some more testing for sure. Here's Wipeout Pulse at 4x, which is absolutely silky smooth. I only played this one track, but I did play it to completion, and there were no moments of slowdown, so definitely do not expect that you'll have any trouble playing Wipeout Pulse on your Odin 2. And finally, here is Zone of Enders, second runner, requested by, well, you know what? I really don't know how to say your name. W. Loam? Tricky. Anyway, it's running great at 4x, and I really don't understand these games. So we'll just fast forward from this introduction to some actual battling. And as you can see, although I don't know how to play it, it's definitely not slowing down.
Attack the mosquitoes all at once with the homing laser.
Okay, and that's going to just about do it for this video. I think I've squeezed in 18 games into about 24 minutes of footage. I hope you enjoyed it. If your request didn't meet the cut, hopefully I get to it later, but probably it means there was a very long, unskippable introduction, and I just did not have time to sit through those. Sorry. The basic takeaway from all of this is that the Odin 2 has plenty of power to run PlayStation 2 games far better than the original hardware did. Games that are outliers probably just need tweaks or further emulator development to get running well. Again, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll have a lot more Odin 2 content coming up this week. But until then, I hope you just keep gaming.